Hey, how's it going? Wait for a few people to come on. How you guys doing? Another Tuesday. Another two-stroke Tuesday. You guys hear me all right? Man, I can't believe how fast this week has gone. Christmas and man, time to start doing the get back out to the shed, guys. Be doing working on Dave's bike tomorrow. Gonna be stripping that case down, splitting that case, get that done. Got the bench all cleaned off, so it's all good. Can you guys hear me all right? I'm still not sure about all these settings and stuff. All right, cool. Thank you. Thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate that. What a day. It's been crazy. I've been cleaning and organizing, getting things put into places, and awesome. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm still not sure about the whole computer thing. I'm not as tech savvy as you guys think I am with the whole live chat. So cool. Thank you, Lewis. Yep. So it's crazy. So we're gonna be working on the TS 125 tomorrow, separating the case, splitting the case, and doing the lower end inspection is what I want to do tomorrow. So on Dave's bike, get that motor split, and then we're going to go through it and see what needs to be done. We already have the crank bearings and seals and the gaskets. So knock on metal or wood or whatever. Hopefully it doesn't need anything more than that, but we're going to inspect everything while we're in there. The bike has a lean condition, and it's caused by the inner crank seal. And the videos I'll be doing on this are going to be kind of repetitive because we're doing it on the DS80 as well. Now, GTZ Garages has sent me up a whole complete DS80 engine, and I'm going to be putting that on my DS80. So it's 100% ready. I just got to hook it up, bolt it on, and be done with it. So awesome. Thank you, Jeff. So what I want to do with that motor is we're going to split that case as well because that one needs a Kickstarter shaft that's stripped out. What happened with the DS80 that I have was the carburetor wasn't fully inserted into the boot. What happened there was it was partially out and created an air leak. So it ended up burning up the engine. There's some scoring, heavy scoring on the what do you call it there? On the exhaust side, and the bearings are burnt out. So we're going to be doing, and the bearings came in for that. So I already got all the parts and pieces to that, except for the, no, I did get the Kickstarter shaft for that. So we have all the parts and pieces to do that work as well. That engine will go onto the shelf until we're ready for it. And then we also have the, we're going to do a comparison with the Suzuki TS125, the DS100, and the DS80. And I'm going to show you guys how the comparison. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do something unique. We're going to comparison the Suzukis to the Kawasaki's. And you're going to see how a lot of the technology between these different companies are intertwining. And you might notice a lot of stuff like that even in the automotive industry. So like, for instance, Mazda is no longer owned by Ford. They're back to just being Mazda. Mazda, we bought the 2020 Mazda 3, and it's got, all the Sky Active technology stuff. Well, now the Mazda and Toyota, they built a plant here in the United States of America, and now they're combining forces. So Mazda and Toyota are going to be better than Honda's. I guarantee it's coming up, guys, because the transmission technology between the two are phenomenal. Okay, the engines that are in the Mazda 3 are second to none. That Sky Active is incredible. Same thing with the Kawasaki's and Suzuki's. For decades, they've been sharing information. And that's why a lot of our parts will fit other bikes because of the communication between the two companies. Yamaha has some of that technology, but you can see it. They're using a different oiler, a different oiling system, different carburation setups. They're totally different. Even in the way that they, I call Yamaha's liar bikes because they are lying to you. Like my DS80 is actually a 72cc. So yeah, you get the 5 rule. If it's 5 or above, you round up. Well, man, they went by the 2 rule and said that's an 80. It is not an 80. That bike could not catch up to any of my 80s. Okay, so the DS80 is a great bike. Don't think I'm knocking it. It's a beautiful bike, but it's not an 80. It feels like a 70. It rides like a 70. When you're on the bike, you know it's a 70. So we got a lot of that, a lot of comparison stuff coming up. Harvey Spooner sent up the RAS. So after we get done doing the DSA, the TC 125 and Alvin's bike is actually on the lift right now. I'm probably gonna just bust that out because that bike is gonna be a quick, easy in and out. You know, it's already in the lift. We already have the parts. We should just zap it out. So what I'll do is I'll do a video on splitting the case, get that done, and then we'll do a video working on Alvin's bike and get that done. And then we'll go from there. And Robert has sent up, he's going to be sending up some more parts for his bike, the 400, the DT 400, and then we'll be working on that. And then in between there, we're going to be, when we hit Robert's bike or after Alvin's bike, we're going to be jumping onto a couple of my bikes in between, kind of a fill-in type thing, and then see if we can work them all in because I have a lot of bikes and a lot of repairs need to be done. So that's what we're going to do. I don't need any bikes for a while. No, that's not going to happen. I'm sure there'll be something in between. Harvey Spooner got that 4-wheeler done. You guys got out to the Harvey Spooner channel, checked out that 4-wheeler. He had it running. Sounds good. He thought I only had the motor bolted in with one bolt. I had to call him and say, no, it's held in with the 4 bolts at the bottom. So he's like, oh, okay, so we're good to go. That bike's motor's all bolted in. He's going to have some fun. Colombia, wow. Is it pronounced Dario? I'm trying to get better with the names. I'm not really good with that. I'm not really sure how to activate that, but I will check into that. I thought all my stuff was subtitles in Spanish. Yes, I can do that. I will set that on there. I think I saw that in one of my settings. Yes, I will do that. That's awesome. Colombia, guys. This channel is all over the place. I love it. Well, thank you, Dario. I appreciate that. It is amazing to me that we're able to take this channel and go global with it. Be all over the United States, all over UK, Colombia, everywhere. It's everywhere. Okay. And it blows my mind that we're able to fix bikes all over the world. And I love that. 2021 is right around the corner. This is our last Two-Stroke Tuesday of this 2020 mess. It's gone. And then we're going to start doing some other things. We're getting into some T-shirts. We're going to start doing that probably in February. I think we're going to be starting. So I'll be keeping you guys up to date on that. And we're going to be doing some cool stickers, decals for bikes and stuff like that. So I'm working on that. 2021 is a big year for me and for this channel. This is the year, 2021, that I will be designing and patenting a CDI unit for our KE100s. And it'll also be a 12-volt system. So it'll be a complete upgrade package, and that's what I'm working on. Unfortunately, it'll probably be pretty pricey at first until it takes off. I did. Thank you. I had a great Christmas. I hope you did too. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas. Good evening, Jesus. That's awesome. Thank you guys. Um, I want to do some crazy things this year, and I want to make 2021 pop. And we're going to do it in a big way. Towards the summertime, we're going to be doing the bike run. Um, Providing the whole COVID thing, we have to wait and see what's going on with that. You know how that is. But for those of you guys who can make it, I'm thinking we can do a because it's going to be up in the White Mountains, a nice, beautiful ride up the Kangamangas Highway. It's called Kangamangas, okay, Highway. It's 112 Route 112, and it goes from Ossipee all the way up to Lincoln, up to Loon Mountain, and you guys can check that out on maps. It's pretty cool. It's a 32-mile run, and there's no gas stations, but there's plenty of places to stop on the, to hike and all that type of stuff. And I think we can make like a weekend of it, do some camping, barbecues, campfires at night, and just hang out and talk bikes. And what I plan on doing is I'll be taking a trailer, so a whole bunch of people can ride up together. So it's gonna be pretty cool. And I'm planning on doing it this summer. And if it takes off and works pretty well, we'll do an annual thing. Um, what do you call it there? So that's a pretty cool thing I'm working on. Those are the things that I'm focusing on for 2021. These are my hopes and dreams, and I'm looking to make them come true. And I'm doing this because you guys enabled me to do this. And all the support I get is has been amazing. Um, Everybody who contributes to the channel, whether it be through thumbs up or questions, these are all big things for the channel. Unfortunately, you get some people who are just real, leaving negative comments on the channel. Like one guy's like, "Oh, I almost subscribed. You talk too much." Well, don't want to be it. There's 1,000 other channels working on KE 100s, right, guys? It's like, come on. But no, we're growing, and it's because of you guys, and you guys have been great fans, great supporters of the channel. I'm projected to hit before the end of the year 4,800 subscribers. Thank you. I appreciate that, Graham. So 4,800 subscribers. I have never thought in a million years that it was going to hit 4,800 subscribers. We're at 4,788, and I'm betting by the end of what you call January 1, we'll be at 4,800, and that is huge. I can't even believe the support that I'm getting. I can't. I never thought it was going to be like this. This, like I said, this channel, and I said this before, this channel started off because my son said, "Dad, you should start a YouTube channel." And I was like, a whole bunch of people are doing these bikes. Turns out I was dead wrong. He was correct. And, well, we ended up starting a channel, and we started back in 2016, and I grew it very slowly. And as people started to get to know me and started to like what I was doing, it just escalated. And now we are here. And I said, when I hit 4,500 subscribers, I'm going to start this live chat thing, Two Stroke Tuesdays, and it has been amazing. So I really enjoy hanging out with you guys on a Tuesday night. Just relax. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Got a super chat. Thank you, Spider. Appreciate that. It's been awesome. Oh, super sticker. Spider sticker. That's cool. Thank you, Tony. So cool. I appreciate that. Yeah, I know. I appreciate that. Thank you, Tony. That's awesome. I really, really appreciate that. The support has been awesome, and it has been literally a blessing to be able not just to help you guys here in America fix bikes, but Colombia, for crying out loud. Colombia, people working on bikes in Colombia, watching my channel. This is amazing to me. All over the world, and I love it. And I want to do something to give back. So this is what I do to give back. My Two Stroke Tuesdays. We're going to be doing T-shirts. We're going to be Australia. Wow, Paul, thank you. Look at see, point in case. This is amazing. Okay, I never thought this would be like this. So we're gonna. Oh, you're welcome. We're gonna be doing T-shirts, stickers, all kinds of cool things. Some signs, banners and stuff like that. And I got what you meant. You should see Paul, listen. Okay, I'm going to tell you something about my name. I am married. I have been called every name in the book. So, yes, you're welcome. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. The Z50 has been opened up the Honda window, the Honda door for me. So, oh, you're welcome. The Honda videos have been opening up now the Honda people because we got the Suzuki, the Kawasaki's, the Yamahas, the Suzuki's, and the Hondas. We got all four of the big names now, and I like the vintage bikes, and I'm trying to teach you guys all about how these engines work. And the more you understand about how they work, like, did you see the compression come up on that motor? I cranked the piss out of it, excuse the French, and only hit 50 psi. I put a little tiny cap of two-stroke oil in that four-stroke engine. Compression boosted right up to 100. I had to stop. I'm like, I don't know where this is going, but it's a nice, solid engine. So we're going to fix that engine. It looks like hell. It does. But we're going to fix it because we can. And with the knowledge that we have, we could put that knowledge onto that engine that's been sitting in a barn or shed for 30 years and get that thing to run again. And realistically, it's just the top of the what do you call it there? The motor mount is broken. Not really worried about that. I'll show you guys how to fix that. A lot of people freak out when they see something like that. Oh my God, what am I gonna do? We got this. If that's it, I'm okay with that. And the Kickstarter is porked. I mean, just stripped out. Someone stripped it out so bad that they had to drill a hole through it. I can only imagine what the Kickstarter looks like, but that was missing. Okay, they drilled a hole through it, put a bolt through it, and then that was their Kickstarter. Now, that engine deserves to be correct, so we're gonna do that. Getting into a little bit of Hondas. I'm going to be taking the other frame carcass. We're not going to be doing that until summertime. It's going to be back burner, way back burner. But I got that Harvey Spooner. I think I told you guys last week. We got that MB5 motor that I took the gauges out for the KE102 build. So we're going to make that other mini bike a one-off mini bike. Yes, a one-off. We're going to put an MB5 motor on that Honda 50. And a couple of reasons why. Because it's a Honda 50. And we're going to put a Honda 50 back onto it. But it's going to be a two-stroke Honda 50. Because we love two strokes. And we have the motor. And when I got that bike from Harvey Spooner, I had to hear it run. Turns out, it runs really, really good. And it's a 5-speed. So that bike is going to crank. And it's going to be an amazingly fun build to do. And we're going to keep it as scaled as possible to where it is. We're not going to do any performance to it because that motor has a lot of power. Way more than the 4-stroke 50. So we're going to use that motor. Some of the things that we're going to be doing with that is where the side cover is that's missing. That's where the oil tank, the oil reservoir is going to be mounted. Because I don't want to, well, one, if we mount an oil reservoir there, we don't have to worry about buying a side cover for that, okay? So that'll save us some money on that. We're going to custom make a side cover. I have, a long time ago, I used to play around with some fiberglass. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the cover that's there and make a bigger cover to go around the oil tank. The GT80 doesn't take oil in the crankcase, it takes it in the transmission. What you're going to do with that is there's right next to the Kickstarter, there's a little plug. And you take that out and you put the oil in the top until it comes out that hole. Same way as the Kawasaki's, I believe. The GT80 takes Do not use synthetic oil in that GT80. You can use synthetic oil in the two-stroke mix. If you want to buy two-stroke mix that's synthetic, that says it's for oil injection, air-cooled, two-stroke engines, you could totally run that, no problem. But do not put synthetic oil in that GT80 because you will ruin those clutches. It'll burn them right up. It's too slippery. The other thing is you want to use a 10W30 or a 10W40 motor oil in that transmission, same as Kawasaki's. And the book calls for good quality oil. Yeah, don't use synthetic in those. They're too old. They're what's the word I'm looking for? The clutch material that's on there is not designed for that. So, but yeah, no, definitely don't. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Very welcome. I just want to make sure you're doing that correctly. Make sure, not even semi-synthetic, just straight up oil. For the transmissions, I use Quaker State, Pennzoil, anything other than cheap oil. The book literally says in the book, a good quality motor oil. And on the KE100, you want to make sure you're using 10W30 or 10W40. And you don't want to use synthetic in that either, because that will destroy the clutches. I'm going to be doing another performance video. So I'm going to do Dave's bike tomorrow, like stripping that case down tomorrow night. So that probably won't be posted until Thursday. But I'm going to be stripping that one down, and then I'm going to be doing another performance video. And in that performance video, I'm going to be showing you guys motocross clutches and the KE clutches in comparison. So you guys understand the power and the real estate that's there, you know, how much is there and how it works. Because once you understand what you have, you can understand what it can do. And part of that's what we do on this channel is show you guys and teach you guys what you can and cannot do with these bikes and what they can and cannot handle. And part of the performance is I'm going to show you guys some cool stuff that's going to make absolute perfect sense to you. It's going to be a very informative video, the performance series. I like doing this performance series. It helped. The last one I did popped, it blew up, and it really helped out a lot of people understand what they have. And the KE100 is a great bike. It is an amazing bike. But I want you guys to know what it can and cannot do, and what you can do to these bikes to make them do more than you think. Trying to get them more into where you guys think that the bikes are. You know what I mean? I have a lot of people like, oh yeah, I premix my bike all the time. Oh yeah, I put a 50-to-1 like you're using a KX80 or KX100. Like, whoa, no. These are 24-to-1, not 50-to-1. I don't know if anybody does 50-to-1, but and if there was a 50-to-1, I sure wouldn't put 50-to-1 in it. Too lean. I'd rather have a little bit of smoke and have my engine last longer and enjoy my bike longer. So, but I'll be getting into all that technology, all that stuff. I got the forums are just great places, but you got to be careful who you talk to in the forums, because a lot of people try to push the motocross information on non-motocross bikes. This creates confusion. Okay. Oh yeah, you can delete that oiling system, blah blah blah. No, don't. Perfect. You go to a gas station, you put straight gas in the tank, premix in the premix tank, okay, or the oil reservoir. You don't mix them. You have to go to a gas station because you're really low on fuel and you're not going to go home. You can't just, if you already premixed your tank, you can't just add fuel to it. You have to add premix to it. And that right there is, what do you call it there? It's not going to work properly. Hold on. You want to make sure that you're not premixing it in the tank, because then you have no idea how much you're putting in there, and that's not good. And on any two-stroke engine, you want to put the oil in first, and then the fuel hits the oil and mixes it all up for you. So, like on chainsaws, weed whackers, never put the gas in first and then put the two-stroke in afterwards. That's not the correct way of doing it. So, yeah, my nose is itchy tonight. Dry skin, guys, right around here in my eyes. Oh, it's crazy. This weather's been nuts. Yep, that's the 24-1. Yep. What part are you working for? You working on the part for the oil set? Yeah, 24-1. Make sure you block off that banjo fitting with what do you call it there? A metric bolt. And you want to go the length of the screw. You're not going to on a short time on premix, it's not going to hurt the bike. Over the long haul, it will, because that rotary valve needs to have that cushion of oil like I talked about. But yeah, you just got to keep an eye on it and don't run it for really long periods of time, because it will ruin the rotary valve. It'll wear it thin, and it doesn't lubricate that crank bearing properly. And if you want to know what a bad crank bearing sounds like, check out my DS80 bike on there. What a bad crank bearing sounds like, because when he burnt up that DS80 because of the carburetor not being on correctly, he literally burnt up the bearings and everything. I mean, what happens is so a lot of times we think lean condition, it burns up the piston, the damage is done. You throw a new piston in it, new gaskets, clean up the cylinder, hone it, bore it, whatever, we're done. You're not done, because you could have crank bearing damage. So what you have to do is grab your flywheel with no piston, hold the connecting rod up and rotate it. And if you feel a growl, like a rough feeling, and it's not smooth, chances are some of that scoring or the pre-detonation went into the bearings and chewed them up. So you want to make sure that whenever you're doing a top end, you want to feel the bottom end. You want to look inside there, rotate the crankshaft and look in there with a flashlight and see if you can see any debris in there. It'll look like little metal balls, like tiny little metal balls, or it'd be like what do you call it there? It'll be just little fragments of metal. The other thing you can do is take a paper napkin, bunch it up, stick it on the crank, rotate it till it kind of goes underneath, and then rotate it back up and see if it's all gray. If it's all gray, you have debris that got into the lower end. And then you're going to have to flush that out. For that, if the bearings feel fine and you need to flush it out, you take the motor off the frame, tip the motor up with no jug, so the cylinder would be where the cylinder will be down bottom, and then you spray the parts cleaner in there and flush it all out until you get no more gray. Yeah, so you want to definitely make sure you get all the debris out whenever you're doing a top end. Top ends are relatively easy. A lot of people don't check I had one guy, he bought a cylinder. I was selling a cylinder a long time ago. He bought the cylinder from me. It lasted 2 days. 2 days. He says, "Kevin, I don't know what I did. I blew the motor up again." What do you mean? He says, "I literally blew it up. I got the cylinder from you. I bought a brand new Wiseco piston. I put the rings on. I stuck it in the cylinder, and he goes, I ran the bike and destroyed it. Seized it up. Then what happened was it cooled down, and I was able to restart the bike. I ran it. I got it home, and then I was having all kinds of issues." He's like, "Oh, I'll take a look at the cylinder." He sends me a picture of the cylinder, and there's like a gouge in the cylinder. I was like, and it was a weird looking gouge. I mean, it was, instead of the lines being up and down, like, from the piston movement, it was like that. And I says, "That's where your rings were. Did you check your piston ring gap?" He said, "No. Wow, that's a brand new piston." Well, you're supposed to check your piston ring gap, because if you don't check your ring gap, they're going to make, whenever you buy a ring or a piston ring or a piston with rings, they are full-length rings. What this means is when you put that in there, they are at maximum distance. You have to gap the ring yourself. If you don't gap the ring, what will happen is as the ring heats up, it expands, like as all metals do. Then what could happen is one ring will start to go over the other ring, and then that causes cylinder damage and scoring and all kinds of crap. It'll lock your motor right up. But what happened was when it cooled down, the steering went back to its normal spot until it warmed up again, and then it did it again. So you have to check your ring gaps whenever you're doing a top end. Oh man, oh, so itchy, so dry. It's been crazy. Heat's been kicking on like crazy. It's cold out. We got oh, what was the other thing I wanted? So I've been cleaning up in the shed, going through some stuff, and what do you call it there? I'm going to be doing a I'm not sure when or how I'm going to do it, but I got some extra parts. I'm not talking about what they are right now, but I have some extra parts I'm going to be putting for sale that I'm not using. I haven't used in a long time, and just to kind of get rid of some stuff because I got so many projects, and I'm not getting. I don't think I'm going to be getting any more KE100s, if you will. You know, very good. Thank you. My day is doing great. How about you? Hopefully everything's good on your end too. It's been um a great day. It's been very cold. Been in the house. Got a lot of stuff done, putting stuff away. Still got all the Christmas lights up and all that type of stuff. The people is off right now, but yeah, it's been great. Um, I got a lot of extra parts that I want to get rid of. Oh, I'm sorry, man. That is terrible. Sorry about your mom. I'm gonna tell you this. I lost my mom a while back, and I'm gonna tell you it helps me get through that. Okay? Whenever you lose anybody, when they're looking down on you from up above, they want to see you smiling. They want to make sure that you're happy. So we mourn the loss and celebrate the life. Remember the good times. Remember the smiles. Remember those inside jokes. Remember the fun that you had. Remember they want to see you tell the stories about how great they were and all the fun that you had. Whether you went to a carnival or whatever you did that was fun. Those awesome memories, the inside jokes, the innuendos that only you two got. You know, the laughing until you doubled over. Those are the memories that your mom would want you to have. So, smile and know that she's with you always. That's the best thing, that will get you through any hard time because this is only temporary, Ah, you're welcome. What was her name, by the way? I like asking that. I always like to know because person, it stinks whenever you lose somebody. It's just, it's the COVID thing, and then you got all the the cancers and stuff like that. It's life is short. That's why we do what we do, right? We're always here for Patricia. Very nice. That's a beautiful name. Oh, thank you. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for sorry for your loss. That's awesome. We're all in this together, guys. We're all in this together. And when one person falls, we gotta be right there to help them up. So we thank you for that. Um, as a God-fearing man, that's what we do. So may she rest in peace. May God's smile shine upon her. She'll be waiting for you at the gates. I promise you that. We So we got the exhaust expansion chamber thing. My brother still doesn't know about the bike yet. We have the KE100, the 1987 that my brother's helping me build the exhaust on, and he doesn't own a two-stroke, so we're gonna do like we said before. I left that bike towards the back where all the bikes are parked. So I'm gonna have him help me with that soon. And geez, guys, we got so many projects, and I still haven't heard the LT 125 four wheelers that we got from Harvey Spooner and the one I picked up for free. So the donated one. So we got that to, over the winter we're gonna be doing that. So want to get what we have done first, so we can get on to those. And I still gotta go pick up those pots from that gentleman who was on here. Yeah, we got so much stuff, guys. So much stuff. Unbelievable. So how you guys doing with your bikes? What's going on with you guys' bikes? You guys working on anything cool? You guys building anything great? You guys been out riding at all? It's too cold here. It was nice on Christmas. Christmas was 60 degrees here in Methuen. Of course, it was Christmas. I couldn't do a video, but with the family. I know a lot of YouTubers do videos on Christmas. I do not. I take the day off completely. That is the time for your friends and family. Yes, I actually have a video. I have a couple videos on how to clean a gas tank. Um, let's talk about that real quick. That's a great topic. So, when you look into a tank and you see rust, okay, the first thing you automatically think of is, "Oh my God, what am I going to do?" Okay, hold on, relax a little bit. There are two types of rust, I call it. There is regular rust in there where the liquid is still in the tank. So, like the old varnished fuel is still actually in the tank. The tank is coated in rust, looks like hell. And then there is the thick, scaly rust that you're pretty sure there's going to be holes in. Okay. So, what I do is dependent upon the tank, if it's a real thick rust or if it's a light rust. Either way, I flush them out with water. I know it sounds terrible because that's how they got rusted in the first place. I flush both tanks out with water. Period. Hose, garden hose, fill that up until it's coming out the top, until it's coming out. Then, after it's all flushed out, do a second evaluation. Look in there with a flashlight, see what you can see, hold the tank up, see if it's holding the water. Then, if it's holding the water, you're pretty good. You're on your home stretch, even if it's thick rust. Then what I do is I take the petcock off, I block the hole, and I fill the tank up with vinegar. Okay, so I empty it out, it's filled up with vinegar. I bring it in the house. I put it near the heater so it can be at the 70, right around 70 degrees you want that tank at. Okay, if it is not at 70 degrees, you could take a heater or a, what do you call it there? What do you call it there? Heat gun, and kind of warm up the tank a little bit. That helps the vinegar that you put. I'm talking regular vinegar you buy at the market. You put that in, it's 5% acidity. Okay, that right there will take you about 2 days, and it will literally break up all the rust. Okay, sometimes you can get away a day, maybe two. It'll break up all the rust, and you'll see it. You'll see it floating, and then what you can do is you take a bucket, you dump it out, flush it out, and then you look inside there and see if there's, how bad it is. You can do a couple of things. You can go and get some small little nuts, a whole bunch of them. You can go get, I use BBs, like a BB gun. I pour a whole thing of BBs in there and I shake the hell out of that tank. And what it does is it takes, when those things slide up and down, the nuts, the washers, the screws, don't use sharp screws and do not use nails. When they slide up and down, they're actually breaking up the rust. Then I shake them out. I fill it back up with vinegar, the vinegar that came out. I pour that back in. Don't care what it looks like. I pour it back in and let it sit. Then I let it sit. I flush it back out and see the condition of it. If the tank is fixed, I flush it out with WD-40. Like I rinse it out, dry it off with the heat gun. If you look at my 1987 KE100 bike, you'll see how I did that on there. If the tank is really thick rust and you can't break the rust out, what I do is I use the muriatic acid or muriatic acid or however you call that. You can get that acid over at the Lowe's or Home Depot or any place that does construction stuff. It's for doing cement. A couple of things with that acid. That acid will burn you. It is not a toy. It's to be away from pets, animals, kids. You're going to want to make sure that you have plastic or rubber gloves on. You don't want fabric gloves. It will eat them. You want to make sure you're wearing eye protection, face mask, and that you're not breathing it in. When you pour that acid in that tank, make sure you have no petcock on there. Make sure it's cut, it's blocked off. When you pour that acid in there, you will literally see a haze coming off the top of that tank. It is awful stuff. A plastic bucket, you're going to dump it back into. It typically will clean a tank within about hour and a half. That tank will have no rust in it. It will eat it that quick. And then you flush it with water, but keep your PPE on, your personal protection. You do not want to get that on you, get that on your face and your mouth or anything, and you don't want to breathe it in. It is a breathing hazard. You want to do it outside in a well-ventilated area. I will not do it in the house. Keep it outside. And that's how I do the tanks. Just one. Trying to get spark on it. Replace point to condenser, still no spark. And now I have coil grounded. Okay, so if you did the points in condenser, rotate the flywheel with the points in there. Make sure you can see the points make contact. Rotate it around again and make sure you can see them open. Okay. Double check your gap. Make sure that they are gapped properly. You're welcome. Check your gap. Then, on where the magneto is, you're gonna have the pigtail coming up and goes into your plug for your main harness. Unplug it. Take a jumper lead, hook it onto the black wire from your magneto. Go up to your ignition coil, so you get your spark plug coil wire, and then you get that tiny little black wire coming off your off your coil. Hook the other alligator clip onto there, and then try it and see if it starts. That is the best way to do that. That bypasses the entire electrical system, the entire bike, the kill switches. You typically will find that your ignition coil is good. If it's on a KE100, you will not. Let's put it this way: 30 years, I haven't seen a bad coil. So typically, it's in the charging system. It could be a bad ground on your magneto. It could be a points out of adjustment. So check that. Make sure your magnets. A lot of times people try to take the flywheel off with a hammer. That blows my mind. I would never do that because you can break a magnet. But you can also do something else if you whack a flywheel with a magnet. You can actually shock the magnetism out of the magnet, and it won't have the strength, the pull strength. Electrolysis for the tank. Would it damage the paint? Good. It could. It very well could. I honestly have never tried that. Every time, if you try electrolysis, it does clean, and I think it could damage the paint. I mean, I'm not 100% sure on that, but it definitely could possibly damage that. Never really tried that. I think, you know what? That's a good video right there. And I have an old red KE100 tank that is rusted on the inside. It's got some holes at the bottom. I was going to use it for mock-up, and I think I'm going to try that on that tank. That would be a great video to try it. That would be a good video. Put it in a nice big tote, hook it up. Yeah, I think we're going to try that. That would be a good idea. Electrolysis, I actually have an electrolysis video, and it was a fail. I hooked it up wrong. It was my first attempt at electrolysis, and now I understand a lot more about it. So I got a lot of hate mail on that one, I'll tell you that. You hooked it up wrong. That's why it didn't work. Actually, it did work, even though it was hooked up backwards. It just took a whole lot longer, and it was an experiment. I never did it before, but people automatically think you have to know everything, you know? Yeah, no, I'm sure a lot of if you're wondering it, a lot of people would be wondering it. Yeah, I've gotten one guy, what you call it there, the other day, he's like, "Oh, I almost unsubscribed to you because you talk too much." It's a video. How boring would it be if I was working on something and wasn't telling you what I'm doing? I'm here to teach you guys, you know? If I just sat there and be boring. It'd be not you wouldn't learn anything. My arm's in the way half the time. I have to explain to you what I'm doing. So, so I said to him, I said, "Well, if you don't like my videos, you don't have to subscribe. You're not obligated. I'm sure there's 1,000 other videos on repairing KE100s on YouTube. I bet there's 1,000. There's probably a whole bunch of them. you know, I'm teaching. That's what I do. Well, I'm a professional mechanic. Well, not everybody who watches my channel is a professional mechanic with $30,000 worth of tools. It's like, come on, blows my mind. That's not what we're about. Yeah, it just like go do something else. Yeah, I mean that's what we want to do. We want to teach. We want you guys to know what I know. I want you guys to fix your bikes. If you guys are working with your hands and you're not mechanics professionally or whatever, and you guys get out there and you work with your hands and you build your bike and you use my videos and I'm teaching you how to do it and you're learning. If you don't fix the bike, okay, if the bike doesn't get fixed, but you learn something, that's a goal. That's a big goal. Hold on one second. And what is all? You learn something, and that is huge. That is huge. Okay, that's what I want. I want you guys to learn. I want you guys to get up there. I want you guys to fix your bikes. I want you to build your bikes. I want you guys to enjoy your bikes. That is what I want. I don't want you guys to be um, left in the dark. These bikes they're coming far in view. They're not as popular as they once were, and we're rescuing them. We're saving them. And that's what we're doing. We're saving them from being crushed. We're saving them from being junked. We're saving them from rotting, just wasting away. I mean, many times people have bikes that just, they're sentimental and they don't want to get rid of them, but they can't fix them either. That's where we come in. That's what we do. You're welcome, Wally. Oh, wow. Well, thank you for that. Exactly. The mechanical skills. You're able to solve problems and work on the stuff with your own hands. And there is nothing better than learning. And then you get that talk like, hey, you know what? Bike runs good, huh? You could say that. Doesn't have to change. So on the chains is a 420 chain, and I always go with 130 link because you can cut it down and it will be perfectly. It comes whenever you buy a chain. I always buy the 130 link that covers everything. 420 chain, and it comes with the master link. Just cut it down to where you want. And typically they come, if you buy, well, it depends on what kit you buy, but you can buy them with a chain breaker, and it comes in handy. And that's how I get my chain breakers. I don't buy chain breakers. Whenever they go, I make sure I buy a chain. Comes with the chain breaker. Little tip. Well, so you're a guy right after my own heart. The Z50s and the GT4Rs, the G4TRs. Those are great bikes. It is fun. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy hanging out with you guys. Tuesday night, hanging out, talking bikes, relaxing. Yeah, it's nothing better. So, how I learned about bikes, that's a great question. I didn't start off with bikes. I started off with liking cars. I was sitting in the window. I was about 7 years old or so, and I was watching my brother pull a motor out of a van. And it's my van story. I'll tell you guys real quick. So I'm in the window watching. My brother and I haven't gotten along. My brother Clay, the one who helps me with the welding and stuff like that. Him and I, when I was younger, we didn't get along. I just stayed away from him. But I always watched him. I thought he was, great at what he did. He was a mechanic early on, and my dad was mechanical. He wasn't mechanical. He was mechanical. And I watched my brother take an engine out of a Chevy van, put it on the ground, take another motor that was on the ground, the one he got from a junkyard, pluck it and put it into the truck, into the van, and drive off with it later on that day. Okay. It was like watching TV. I was literally watching him out the window. Okay. I had my drinks, I had my popcorn. I mean, I was literally sitting there watching and mesmerized by that. And at that point, I knew I wanted to be a mechanic. Then later on, um, he's always had motorcycles, mopeds, always had them. I've always loved them. And then one day, he says, "I got something for you. You got to come with me right now." I says, "What do you got? What do you got, Clay?" He says, "We just got to go right now." So we get in his truck and we go over to his girlfriend's house at the time. Her parents' house had, her brother had a Kawasaki KD80 Outback, and that did not run. That started it for me. That's what started. When I got that bike, I was 10 years old. Okay. Now I'm 44 years old, and I have been working on bikes. I've had, from that time I got that KD80. My second bikes, I got a pair of them from work that were junk. I got a pair of what do you call it there? Moto Moto Bicane. I got two Moto Bicanes, a bright orange one and a bright yellow one, and they were two mopeds, and I got them going. And I went to the junkyard, the Halo Salvage Yard, and I used to buy. Ready for this, guys? I used to buy dirt bikes, parts bikes. Nothing fancy. Parts bikes, junk, they're missing tanks, seats, whatever. $5 a piece, and I used to wheel them home. Yeah, $5 a piece back then. You can't touch them now for that. But $5 a piece. I used to get a lot of them running, and a lot of them were just too far gone. But I would keep them for parts. I would not get rid of them, and it'd go out back. And then what I would do is I'd go down there until I found another one. And I used to get bikes all the time. I strip them down if they were really, really bad. I take the motors off. I put the motors in a bag under the porch and bring the bike back down to the junkyard and get like $3 for it. So that's how it was. And then later on, when I was in high school, I went to a school called Whittier Votech. It's a technical training school, and that is where I learned automotive, like professionally automotive. And then I started my career. Through this whole entire time of automotive, Michael. Yes, through my whole automotive career and my pretty much since I was 10 years old, I was just working on bikes. I skipped school to work on bikes, and I grabbed books, literature, anything I could get my hands on that had bike stuff in it. And then I just kept building it up. I kept building it up like a pyramid and empire. I kept challenging myself. I learned electrical. I learned engine, what do you call it? The basics. And then I just kept building on that, on the fundamentals of engines, how they work. I've watched countless training videos. I've been to school for it, and it's just been a blessing to be able to put this type of knowledge onto a format like YouTube. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Not much, Michael. How are you? Yeah, it's been a real blessing to be able to have 34 years of engine experience into this channel, and I don't just work on bikes and cars and trucks. I've worked on big diesel trucks. I have a professional CDL Class A license where I can literally drive a semi truck, which I've done that for a while, and I've also worked on them. So I work on diesels, I work on gas, I work on two strokes. I've worked on two stroke diesel engines like the we call it Detroits. So it's really really cool to be able to have such an arraignment of engines to work on, from everything from a Mazda rotary to a Saka rotary. Pretty cool. So yeah, it's been awesome. So it's definitely been a trip, and it's been a blessing at the same time. It has taken, I've seen technology from points on cars all the way up to the Duraspark, the Duraspark 2 ignitions, to the Fords, and literally just been doing it. No, I am actually currently not working. I am unemployed right now. YouTube is the only money I get, and it's really not a whole lot. So, because of the whole COVID thing, I'm a stay-at-home dad while my son is in school. I work on people drop off small engine equipment, snow blowers, weed whackers, generators. I do generator work as well. Um, Diagnose electrical problems with generators. So I do all that type of stuff here at the house, and work for myself at the present moment. How I learned so much about motorcycles was literally trial and error. Same way I started off with automotive. I just got a bike. I got a manual. Every time I got a bike, I got a manual, read up on it, and just started getting into it. And used my same mechanical skills that I've always had. I just focused them on bikes, and then learned at that time in my life as I went along. So before this channel started in 2016, I was buying and selling bikes left and right, right out of the house. And I mean, I'm not like two-stroke bikes. I'm talking motorcycles and stuff like that. And I would get bikes on Craigslist, and I would go through them, and then build them, flip them, and sell them that way. Oh, you're welcome, Jason. Wow. The white stuff in the carburetor is not mothballs. That is oxidization on water. Oh, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. What do you call it there? And Merry Christmas as well. The white stuff inside the tank, and I get that mothball thing a lot. A lot of people think it's mothballs. That is water. And you can use a chemical called CRL. It's for cleaning bathrooms, believe it or not. And what I do with that is I use 25% of that and 75% water. So you have to kind of balance them out. So if you're using a cup, a quarter cup would be the quarter mark, and you put that with the CRL, and you let the carburetor soak in that for a little bit, and kind of pick it off a little bit, and it would break that all up. I was working on Chinese scooters for a while. I gotta be honest with you, I don't like the Chinese scooters. I don't like them at all, and there's a couple reasons why. Um, One of them is just the way they're built. Um, how would I put it? It's so fragile. Like the carburetors, that stupid choke thing. I do not like that electric choke setup. It is awful. I had a couple. I actually had one. I gave it to Hobby Spooner. I really didn't want to deal with it. I got it running. I put a new carburetor on. It ran great. When they're running, they are running beautiful. When they break down, it's a mess. The Chinese scooters are, how do I put it? They're just not my thing. I don't like those little four strokes. They're too. I just don't like the way they're built. Really, I just don't like. I won't own them. Every time I get them, I get rid of them. They're gone. I don't keep them. Um, I'm a Japanese guy myself. I like the Japanese stuff. I like stuff that oh, what do you call it there? There's a way I want to word it. Um, the Chinese stuff, when the valve train on those are, in my opinion, garbage. And that's really where a lot of the stuff wears out. I've had two um what do you call it there? Two rocker arm setups on the Chinese scooters. So they're on a pin, and the rocker arm fulcrums like that. I've actually had those wear out into an egg shape. And I'm sitting there racking my head going, this thing idles perfectly fine 1 minute, and then it has an erratic idle the next minute. And I couldn't figure out what was going on with it. So then finally I had to pull the valve cover off, and I'm checking it, and then I'm like, oh, the rocker arm shaft is cocking at one angle. And it's literally, it was binding up. And that was my problem. So the scooter needed a cylinder head. Well, there's like four different cylinder heads for the same engine, the GY6. So you got to know which one you got. It's just, they're like, oh no, they're all the same. They're not all the same. They're different. I had two of them with two different rocker arm ratios. They looked pretty close, but they were off. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just not dealing with that. So, um, they are reliable if you take care of them. If you let them sit with fuel in them and you don't change that oil, which a lot of people don't, most of the time you could go over to one of those Chinese scooters and you pull it off there, and the oil is just black. What's up, bud? Okay. Oh, my little guy here. Hey, watch out! You almost hit that. He was sitting on his couch. You almost took him out with that cranium. Okay, if you want to say hi, say hi.
Hello. Hello.
All right. Yeah, go do your thing. Three wheelers are awesome. I would love to get my hand on some. I'm very limited on space, but I would love to get my hand on some three wheelers. The ATC Hondas. Harvey Spooner actually has a bunch of those. He collects them. Yeah. What was that? Three wheelers. Yeah, those are pretty cool machines. You you build those things. Those are keepers. The Z50. Yeah. Are those the ones that you have, or are those ones you're looking for? Because those are great bikes, Matthew. Yeah, no, the 150 cc's, those right there, no, they're not interchangeable. They're not. No, you have to have the stroke is different on the 150 cc's. So if you go from the 50 or 49 cc, some are 49 and a half cc's. It's just, it depends on who makes them. You got the Kimco's, you got the Toto, you know. Oh, not dealing with that. Oh, they're neat. But you can, if you want to spend a little bit more money, you can get that Honda one. I forgot the name of it, but they got a Honda one, and that thing just boots. I mean, it's Honda. You know, the Chinese aluminum versus the Japanese aluminum is so much better on the Japanese than it is the Chinese. And then also too, if that Chinese scooter was built by Honda, it would have a steel bushing into the aluminum housing. It wouldn't be this little ear with a bushing in it. I mean, that thing all belonged it right out. It's like, how do you fix something like that? You'd have to drill it out. You'd have to put a bushing in there, and hopefully you got it at the right when you drilled it. Hopefully you got it dead nuts on, or else you're going to create that problem. Nope. the bike that I gave Harvey Spooner was an actual running bike, belonged to an older gentleman, and he maintained it, which was nice. It's got a piece of. Yeah, I mean, anything Honda is worth fixing. I call these Japanese bikes precious metals. You know what I mean? Because they are worth a whole lot more than the Chinese stuff. Yes, yep. I have in the past. I haven't worked on any RTs in a while, but oh yeah, I've worked on all kinds of. I can't even tell you half the bikes I worked on, whether it be for friends, people dropping by and seeing I have a whole bunch of bikes out here one day, and the guy's, "Hey, I could bring my bike to you. Will you work on it?" Well, yeah, of course I will. Yeah, the 175 Bushwhacker. Oh, great bike, great bike. Yeah, the Bushwhacker is a nice bike. It's a beast. Oh, the 175 Bushwhacker is a beast. Yeah, it's just if you can get the spark plug out and they gave it to you, you're in it for no money. If you can't fix it, throw it away. Oftentimes, you can put them on Craigslist and sell them for $100, and then they'll people go, "Oh, I'll buy that." Just be honest with them. Say, "Listen, I'm not going to deal with this bike. This is what happened to it." Tell them the whole story. I always tell people, honesty is the best policy. If you have something, tell them the whole story. Listen, this is what I found, even if they don't like hearing it. Some people just some people are just arrogant. They don't want to hear it. Okay? They want to hear the good. They don't want to hear the bad. Always tell them the good and the bad. The plastics are all there. The bike is in excellent condition. Here's the problem. Your spark plug is broken off inside the head. In order to do this, I have to take the model and all that down. I have to see if I could find a head, if I can't extract this, and you could be looking at some extra money here. You're looking at gaskets, you're looking at a cylinder head, or I'm gonna have to bring this to a machine shop, and they're gonna have to extract it, and it takes this plug, so we might have to put a helicoil in it. I mean, there's all kinds of things, but let them know what they're getting into before you do anything. Or when you're looking at it, okay, how common is this? What motor do I have? Is this part compatible with that motor? You know, because like I said, they look the same on the outside. A lot of times they're different on the end, depending upon who it's made by. Kimco's and Toto's look a lot alike, but they have a lot of differences. So just things like that. Honda makes a head. No, I didn't say Honda makes a head for the for it. I'm saying the Honda would have if Honda was to make the head, they would put bushings in it. They would do it the proper way. They wouldn't cheapen it up. Is what I meant. Like if you compare a Chinese to a Japanese, the Japanese always go the extra mile. The Japanese take so much pride in what they make. It's amazing they even do break. And I'll tell you, if you went up to them and if you went up to one of those guys who makes the bikes and you say, "Hey, I bought this bike and it broke," they're gonna want that bike back to go through the damn thing. I mean, the pride that they take, whether it be Honda, Yamaha, Suzuki, all the big names, they really take a lot of pride in building a good product. And you know this because they only put the best on their bikes. They don't build the ignition systems. No, they send out, they have a company that exclusively works on ignition systems. Nippon Denso, Mitsubishi, Hitachi. These guys make ignition systems and they're good at it. And they've been doing it for 100 years. Then you have your carburetors, you know, pretty much if you have a Makuni carburetor on that bike, you know you've got top quality, period. That's just how they are. The Makuni line has been amazing. parts are available for them. The jet kits. I mean, you can take a Mikuni of anything, modify it a little bit with their own parts, and get more power out of that one carburetor you already had. You can jet them. You can change the needles in them. You can. I mean, you can really tune the hell out of those things. And they have some really good carburetors out there. So they're racing carburetors. Mikuni makes the oilers. So if it says Mick or Mikuni, which is the same company, you're getting top quality. Period. They make other carburetors, other racing carburetors, but for me personally, if I'm gonna have a carburetor on something, I want the same Mikuni on it, or I'm gonna be asking questions. Even like the earlier KE100s, they used that Tanaka carburetor, and you can't even get parts for that thing. I call it the square carburetor, square, or the bowl is squared, whereas the Mikunis are rounded. So, oh, you're welcome, Michael. Yes, you want to make sure you're getting good quality stuff, and also too, like it doesn't matter what you're getting. If you're getting spark plugs, you wouldn't want to put a Champion spark plug in a Kawasaki or a Honda. It's a crap plug. They used to be top of the line. I don't know what happened with Champion. I wouldn't put a Champion in my lawnmower. Period. On my lawnmowers, everything I own has NGK except my truck does too. Everything I own has NGK now. So I used to use auto lights in the Ford, and I never had a problem with the auto light. But since I started doing the bikes and everything else, I just fell in love with the NGK, and NGK's been my plug of choice. And my truck has iridium plugs in it, and they're more expensive, but they're 100,000-mile plug. I'm putting iridiums in it. I don't want to be replacing plugs. Same thing with the blue rightnesses. The resistor plugs. Excuse me. Always change your spark plugs. Two strokes like spark plugs. They eat them because they have oil in them, and that oil gets up inside where the electrode is and burns them out. Where regular gas doesn't, just burns it off. It's because the spark plug heats up. That's what they have a heat range. It gets to a certain temperature where it cleans. When gas gets on it, it burns it off quickly. When oil gets on it, oil burns longer. So that's what deteriorates the spark plug. It's not the gasoline, it's the two-stroke oil that goes in there. And unfortunately, it's one of those necessary evils. You can't change the fact because you have to put two-stroke oil in the motor, or else it'll seize up. So we're stuck with replacing spark plugs forever, which I'm okay with. But most two-stroke engines don't wear out the plug. So if you're looking at where the electrode comes through the spark plug and then you have your gap, this part of the spark plug, if it's squared and nice and straight on the edges, it's a good plug. It's not worn out. Most two-strokes don't get to the point where they're rounded. So what happens is a worn spark plug, the edges will be rounded. Okay? And then you could tell that it's been worn. It won't be rounded evenly. It'll be like off to one side. It'll be more rounded where the spark hits the most. And then that's a worn spark plug. If the color is if the color is normal. So that's what a worn spark plug looks like. But most two-strokes I come in contact with need spark plugs before it gets to that point because the oil has already gotten to it. And the changing riding conditions don't help that situation at all. So that makes it a little bit more apt to burn up a spark plug than it would be if it was, say, a what do you call it?
Circle thing supposed to go down here, but I lost it.
All right, well, you gotta go see if you can find it. But yeah, you want to make sure that, you know, you're keeping an extra spark plug with you on these bikes because it will use them. And I pretty much have to, like on my Yamaha Virago, it's a 4-stroke. Oh, Jesus, hit that guy. All right, okay, buddy, go play. Um, the spark plugs, I have to change my Yamaha Virago plugs every year, and I probably change them twice a year. Is there a problem with the bike? No. It's jetted, everything is good. The bike runs amazing. The temperature is cool. The exhaust sounds great. It's just at the beginning of the year from sitting, the resistor plugs wear out. Um, it's just the way she is, the way she's always been. So, excuse me. So I embrace it. Wow. XR 200R. That's a nice bike. That must be sharp. Wow. Yeah, no, that's a fun bike. XR 200R. Man, great bikes. You guys got some great bikes. I got my Yamaha Virago 1100. Me and the wife like to take that up to the White Mountains. Actually, where I'm going to be doing the bike run. But we go up through the Kangamangas on that. It's a fun ride. Get off the bike, check out the streams and all that, and we're pretty much gone all day on the bike. Um, I love it. It's a fun bike, and you can take that thing on the highway and open it up and cruise at 80 miles an hour, no problem. And it's just one of those cruising bikes that's comfortable. You're nice and, you know, sprawled out on it. It's got the forward controls, and it can pull a hill like nothing. And then it was like, you're riding an 1100 Yamaha, but you get KE 100s. Why don't you get like a 125 or a 250? Why? If one comes my way, I'll sure as heck grab it up. But I like all bikes. I have mini bikes. I have a 50. I have 75s. You know, it doesn't matter what I'm riding. I just enjoy riding the bike. No, no. To change. So I get asked this a lot of times. The the CDI type ignition for the on the KEs. Okay, hold on. I just want to make sure I got this correctly. Was expensive? You change the points? No. Um, changing my bike, my '92 Kawasaki KE 100. That bike, Michael, that started off. It was all white. That was the white bike that was in the video. I put the green on that, so the parts and pieces, all the green, the tank, the body, and all that are from a '94 KE 100. The CDI ignition is all I had to replace was my stator plate, the pigtail, and the ignition coil, and that was pretty much it. Um, and it was and the flywheel. It was plug and play. I made that bike plug and play. I didn't have to wire anything. I just changed the plug on the end. In fact, I kept the CDI ignition has a blue plug and which is round. Excuse me, tired. And the whatchamacallit there, the KE 100 with the points has a white rectangle plug, and I just had to switch those plugs around so it fit right onto it. But the charging system was plug and play. I didn't have to alter or change that at all. Just literally unplug the old one, plug the new one in, and I had to take off my old points flywheel, which had the cam on it and had 3 magnets. And you need to change that with the 4 magnets, and it doesn't have a cam on it for points. Can't use it for points. And bolt it all down and change out the coil. I have videos on it, and boom, fires right up and is super smooth. Now I did that same ignition system, that same exact ignition system. I did that to my KD80 from the KE 100, and I did that on my KM 100. All my bikes have that ignition system. Now I also modified that ignition system to work on my KV75. Everything's plug and play. Didn't cut up any wiring or anything like that. All my bikes that I have, with the exception of two bikes, my 1987 KE100, that's points, and my MT1, that 1972 KV75, that is also points. Everything else is CDI. So I was able to do that. I found that I could modify a backing plate. I can modify the backing plate on a KE100 and use an AR80. Excuse me, guys. Oh, so tired. AR80 flywheel, because that has 4 magnets, but the timing is off. So I had to modify the backing plate to compensate for that. Once I got that dialed in, that bike runs beautiful. And that is my KDE 90 bike, which is actually a KD80. I'm sorry, KD 100 with the KD 80 setup. So that's a great bike. So can't wait to finish that one off. That one has my modified exhaust system, the one that I cut the baffles out and rewelded it all up there. So it's got a custom made expansion chamber. That bike, cool bike. So yep, that's how that one went. We got a lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool bikes. Out back I got my, well, you guys saw the picture. I got the KDE 90. I got 2 KE 100s out back there that are running. I got my 3 mini bikes, my Suzuki DS80 back there. I got my Yamaha GT80 back there, and I got a few other ones too. So yeah. I had I'm a Ford guy. I had so I had when I was a teenager, I had a 1978 Ford Thunderbird, big car. It had the headlights on it, and originally the motor that was in that was a Ford 302. That came out, and we had a 1971 Mustang GT Fastback with the 351 Cleveland 4-barrel and the quench heads, the 4-bolt main, and that motor found its way into, and transmission found its way into my T-Bird, and that engine destroyed that car. It literally twisted the frame. So that was a beast. I was on 495 with it. I put my foot into it, and my windshield just cracked right diagonal, right across the car. And I was like, holy crap. I pulled the motor out, junked the car, and then that motor went into a 1980 Ford F100 where it literally did the same thing. And then I sold the motor and got rid of the truck. Yes, I did. I grew up working on anything that had an engine. The first engine I worked on was a lawnmower I found in the trash. When I saw my brother, I don't know if you heard this story, Scott, when I was earlier on in the video, but I watched my brother pull a motor out of a van. And at that point, I knew I wanted to be a mechanic. And so we kind of, everybody throws away lawnmowers. Everybody. I mean, I don't care who you are. You driven down the street, you found a lawnmower in the trash. You just drove past it, push mower. I was a kid, about 10 years old. I was going down the street. I found a lawnmower. I put the handle under my seat and pulled it back. And I started, tearing them apart. And that's how I got started. And then I got my KD80. And that was my first bike. And then as I was growing up, I got a couple of other bikes. I had a CB350 Honda, a CB360 Honda. Then I went to a 450 and a 500. and I just kept getting bikes because back in the early '90s, these bikes were cheap and they were a dime a dozen. You could get them anywhere, and that's what we did. That's what we did. We got as whenever I could get my hands on that had an engine. I was telling Scott earlier that I used to go to the Havel salvage yard and I could buy a bike that someone junked in the scrap pile for $5, and I'd wheel it home and see if I get it going, and that's how it was. I was a kid, I skipped school a lot. I didn't party or anything like that when I was skipping school. I was out there learning mechanics, and well, the rest is really history. I worked on everything. I got my CDL. Um, Later on, I went to school with Tech. I studied automotive there 4 years, and I just kept building up on that. And every place I worked had schools that you'd go to, for that particular brand. And man, I've worked in everything from a push mower to a semi. You know, I worked on everything from, well, two wheels all the way up to 18, including tracks. I've worked on dozers, D8s, D9s, Cummins cats, you know, um, pace cars, all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's been a real trip. I mean, in the automotive industry, in the small engine industry, in the industrial industry, in the motorcycle and the off road, I have literally had my hands on pretty much anything I could get my hands on, and you can do a lot of work in 44 years. So yes, Kawasaki's are my favorite. Um, I've always loved Kawasaki since I got my KD80. Um, it's more of a sentimental thing for me than it is a practical thing because they're all great bikes. A lot of guys say, "Oh no, if it doesn't say Honda on it, it's crap." No, that's not true. Everybody makes a good bike. I just tend to stay away from the American bikes, the Chinese bikes. I've had a Harley. I didn't really care for it too much. I sold it to my brother. He really liked it. So, and he's got three Harleys now. And I've just always been a Japanese bike. I love the designs. I love the I love the way they design a bike. I hate the way they put their carburetors on some of these bikes you work on, like the VT 700s, and they're up underneath the frame, and you're like, "Oh my god, oh they guys get in there with that," But they do it. Oh, you're welcome, Michael. What's that? We trying to order it for what parts? The ignition? They're very hard to find. So how I got a lot of people ask me, Kevin, how do you get these ignition systems? It's real simple. I buy junk bikes. I get junk bikes from scraps. People post them on Craigslist, non-running. I buy them. Typically, you can buy these bikes for about $300. Well, they want five. I'll offer them three, and they'll take it non-running. And what do you call it? There, it's I buy as many as I could find. If I find a good deal, I'll buy something. I'll trade them. I might offer them, "Hey, you want a generator for that bike?" "Oh, really? Yeah, I could use a generator more than I can use $300." And I'll end up with the bike, and then I'll take it home. And the first two things I pull off a junk bike: carburetor and ignition, the whole magneto system. And then if the bike is no good, so if it's been waterlogged or whatever the case may be, and then I go for the tank gauges and all the lights. So, the model that you should be asking for is from a 1996 to 2001 KE100. Yep, 1996 to 2001 KE100 has the CDI. How do you know if the bike has CDI? That's a good question that you didn't ask. So if you look where the wiring comes up underneath the tank for the magneto, you can just look, you know where the tanks are. You look up underneath and you can see where the two plugs are. One plug will be blue. The other one with the two yellow wires will be white. That's the CDI ignition. A lot of times what I've been finding is people think that their bike is newer than it actually is. So like, oh yeah, no, it's got CDI. It's too new. It doesn't have points. And you're like, oh, okay, you know. And then you go there and look at the bike, and I just look up underneath the thing, and I'm like, okay, this bike is not a 96 to 2001. And you look at the frame, and you're like, okay, it's a 95. Well, what's the difference between a 95 and a 96? Points ignition versus CDI. That's really the only difference on them. The KE 100 since the 80s has been exact same. You know, they haven't changed it. I mean, they added the little cable to lift up the what do you call it, kickstand when you pull the clutch in. But other than that, they're the same bike. Pistons the same, cylinders the same. You know, carburetor is the same, except for the Tanaka carburetor, which is like 80 to 81. And then you got your what do you call it there? You know, all the covers, parts, and pieces are interchangeable for the most part. And so 96 to 2001 is when they did the CDI. And that's a nice upgrade, guys. That is, I mean, if you can do that, it makes your bike maintenance free, smoother idle, a smoother transition, and a better top end. And what I mean by that is when points you get to race and it starts to go pop, 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 and it's skipping, you know? With the CDI, it doesn't do that, it just wants to go. So that's real nice. And the reason why is called points flow. So every time your flywheel turns, it's got a cam on it. And here's your point. This is actually your point. The cam comes around, opens up the points, opens up the points, open up the points. But what happens is at high RPMs, instead of opening up the points, it's kicking them open. And that's when you get in the skip on the top end. It's kind of what they set like a rev limiter, you know? It's because the points are being kicked. They're not actually opening and riding the cam like they should be. If it was a 4-stroke, you really wouldn't have that because the cam spins slower than a crank. It's slower than the crankshaft. Yeah, like I said, I love them all. I love the Kawasaki's. I love the Hondas. Hondas are 4-strokes, and as you guys know, with a lot of the 4-strokes, I mean, they have their Elsinores, but they're 4-strokes. They're bigger engines. They're heavier engines than a 2-stroke, and you get the same power of a 2-stroke. The Kawasaki, I mean, I'm not a KTM guy. I don't deal with those. I don't deal with Ducatis or anything like that. I just don't like them. You know, not that I don't know anything about them. I worked on a couple, and I thought they were crap. But that's my own personal preference. I just didn't like the way they were made. I got to work on a really cool 4-stroke bike from Ducati. It had I don't remember the exact model on it, but the cam, you know, the valves were actuated by a cam, and they had a bevel gear on it. My God, no, I'm not dealing with that either. That's just crap. You know, give me a push rod engine, give me an overhead cam engine, but don't drive an overhead cam with a bevel gear. I don't like that at all. And you can hear it whining. Junk. No, give me a push rod engine or give me an overhead cam engine for a 4-stroke any day of the week. And the Honda, the QA50s are push rod engines. I'd like to get my hands on one of those. Those are cool little motors. It's a 50, but the cam is not over the head. It's on the block, and it's got 2 push rods that actuate the valves like a lawnmower. And that's pretty cool. I really enjoy that. That's pretty neat. So yeah, that's a pretty cool thing. Pretty cool thing to have. You know what I'm saying? If you can get your hands on one of those, they're neat to learn. It's the basics. The QA50 engine is really the basics of how an earlier engine works. I don't know. I'd like to get my hands on one. I think that's probably going to be, if they do these Z50s, I might work on a QA50. I don't really like the QA50 bike itself. I'd probably be looking for just the engine because the QA50 frame it's just too fragile. I wouldn't be able to ride that. It's too small. The brake drum literally is the size of the hub, and then it's got like a tiny little 6-inch wheel on it, tiny dinky wheel. It's just awful, 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 awful. But the motor is cool. Ugh. Can't believe it, guys. Last Two-Stroke Tuesday of 2020. Can you guys believe it? We did it. We made it through. We made it through the year. Just a couple days left, and boom, we're done. We're out. Thank God. And then we're on the up and up. We're heading towards spring, guys. And that is where we're going to make some magic happen. So just got to keep trucking along. It's been a real pleasure doing these videos, and I can't wait to see what bikes we're going to get. You never know what bike you're going to get. That's one of the things I love about doing what I'm doing. You don't know what's going to come in that door. You don't. You have no idea. You don't know if you're getting a four-wheel. You don't know if you're getting a bike. And it's really at the mercy of the Japanese motorcycle gods because you don't know what's coming in the door. You really don't. It could be a go-kart. You don't even know. It could be a four-wheel. It could be a three-wheel. Who knows what's in store? And we're gonna be doing some serious building. And I can't wait. Any 2021 projects lined up? Yes, we are going to finish the KE 102 in 2021. I gotta get that done. I want my bike. I want to ride my baby. See you next week. Thank you. Thank you very much. I cannot wait to finish that bike. It is a cool bike. It's going to be great. And I am excited about doing it. But my problem is I keep getting other bikes and other projects, and I keep pushing that one to the back burner because it needs so much stuff. And a lot of money has to go into it. And not working and only making money on YouTube, that makes it difficult. So, Happy New Year. Yes. And you too. You have a nice evening, Jesus. Thank you. Yep, so it's cool. But I'm actually going to be ending the video here, guys. I want to say Happy New Year to you guys. Thank you guys for hanging out with me on Two-Stroke Tuesday. And I look forward to doing this. This is one of my favorite things to do now. And it's been a real honor and a real blessing to be just hanging out with you guys. Hey, watch out. You can't be hitting my subscribers. Man, cranium so big. But yeah, so anyway, you want to say Happy New Year?
Happy New Year.
My little guy. All right, Andy. Thank you, buddy. What are you doing?
Michael didn't answer my call, but he's on his coach phone call.
My son Michael, the one he's talking about, is the one who actually got me to start this channel. So yes, and thank you. Happy New Year, and you're welcome for the live chat. I enjoy, like I said, I enjoy doing this. I look forward to it every week. All right, Mike, Andrew, yeah, go do your thing, buddy. So I'm gonna end it here, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for hanging out with me. And as always, I will see you next week, and we'll be doing a whole bunch more videos coming up. Tomorrow I'm gonna be working on separating the case on the TS125, and you probably won't see that video until Thursday, if it depends upon what time I get done. And thank you, Tony. I appreciate it. And Happy New Year. So I just want to say once again, guys, be safe this new year. Party, but keep it within the realm, you know. And you're welcome, Shane. Thank you. Happy New Year. You guys have been absolutely great. I enjoy this. This is really nice. You know, it's funny. I'm gonna keep going here for a second. I was so nervous doing the first ones because I'm not really a computer guy, you know. And it's been you guys have been awesome with your questions, and you don't even know what the subject's going to be. we just start, you know. So thank you guys for being so awesome.
Can I
What, buddy?
call Michael again?
Yes, go ahead. No, don't call him tonight. Don't call him tonight.
He
Well,
didn't answer the last.
give me a minute. So once again, guys, Happy New Year, and thank you guys for being so great. And I can't wait to see what the new year brings. And well, I'll see you guys next year. I'll talk to you guys later. I'm out.